Good afternoon. I'm going to show you how to make activity 225. I'm going to start by making a new folder. We'll click on new folder. We'll call it 2.2.5. Let me go inside that folder. And now we're going to go ahead and save this current file. So I'm going to click on save, and we're asked to call it water heating tube. And I can close this on the left, close the data panel. Just hides it. It hasn't disappeared. And we're asked to create a new component. So click create a new component, and we're also asked to call it water heating tube. Click OK. Okay, now let's go ahead and make a new sketch. So let's create sketch, and I'm going to do the front sketch first. So I'll click on front sketch. Now I'm going to go ahead and use arc. I'm going to go to arc, and I'm going to make it a 3-point arc. Okay, 3-point arc. So I'm going to start with the center point. I'm going to deliberately use another point on this line here on the x-axis. Let me go ahead and pick, there we go. And I'm going to set the dimension. We're not given a dimension. It looks to me like the radius is around 1 inch. So it looks all right. Notice right here, this arc is no longer touching the x-axis. We're going to sort that out later. So I'm going to create a new line. I'm going to draw a line from the origin down, make sure it's in perpendicular. And that I'm going to set a dimension. I'm going to set that to be about 2 1/4 inches, 2.25. I'm going to do another line from this point. I'm going to click line, another one, make sure it's also going vertical. Okay, and that one we're going to set to be a little bit shorter. We're going to set this one to 2 inches. Now, if you notice, these aren't quite lined up fully. They're not what we call tangents. So I'm going to click on this tangent tool, and I'm going to click on the arc and this line on the right. Notice there it's tangent, and now I'm going to do the same thing over here. That way, see, it's nice and smooth, and you can see we've got the symbol here for tangent. That's important, so that we're going to do what's called a sweep, and so that the sweep works out well. If you don't make them tangent, you can have issues with the sweep. Again, the dimensions for the radius of the arc are 1. On the left side, I made 2 1/4, and the right side, I made 2. And now I'm finished with my sketch. Now we're going to be doing what's called a sweep. Now to do the sweep, I need another sketch, and it's not going to be on front. I'm going to make it on top. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch, and I'm going to do it on the top view, which is this one. That's the top view. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a circle, center diameter circle, and it's going to basically have the center point as this particular, where that line is right there. Okay, and we're going to set the diameter. We're given that the diameter is supposed to be 0.37 inches, 0.37 inches. Now I'm just going to click on home. Now notice, again, this U-shape sketch needs to be going right through the center, or right through it doesn't have to be the center. It has to go right through where this actual profile, where the circle is. So this profile is going to sweep it and basically make it a solid, kind of like a pipe almost. Right, hence the name water heating pipe. Okay, so that sketch is done. So I'm going to finish my sketch again. Now I'm going to do what's called a sweep. I'm going to click create sweep, and notice it says it sweeps the sketch profile or planar face along a path. Okay, so I can click on sweep. Now there it says sweep. My profile is going to be the circle, and my path is going to be this U shape. Now notice only part of the U shape shows up. Only this becomes blue. Okay, these two for some reason are not combined, so I'm going to click both of them. There we go. So that way it sweeps the whole thing, which is important to make sure you sweep the whole thing. Okay, and then we click OK, and then we click on front so you can see head on. There we go. That looks like it's good. Okay, so the next thing we're asked to do is we're asked to go ahead and make an axle or axis that's going through this part. This is a shorter end, this is a longer end. So we're going to click on construct. I'm going to choose an axis through a cylinder, cone, torus. Click that. I'm going to click the outside here. See, it gives us an axis in the middle, and click OK. All right, now we're going to go ahead and let me look at it on the front. Okay, you can see I'm going to rotate it. Okay, now I'm going to make a new sketch. So let's go to create a sketch, and I'm going to want it on this particular axis. Okay, so let me go ahead and spin it back again. There we go. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Now we're going to make, we want to go ahead and project. So we're going to choose project, and I want to geometry of this edge. So now that I can go ahead and choose those edges, so P means project, so I can click to those two edges right there. That's what I want to do. So I first have to click OK for project. I'm going to draw some lines. I'm going to go from here up to the top there, and we're asked to go here and then down, and then go back to our starting point. Now, let me go ahead and dimension. Okay, I'm going to dimension from here to this side. We're going to set that to 0.25 inches, quarter inch. We're not really given an angle for this. I'm going to go ahead and say we'll go with a nice round deep angle of 10 degrees. Okay, so that looks good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this shape and we're going to spin it around. So it's going to make this whole thing solid there. That's called a revolve. So I'm going to click on Finish Sketch first. I'm going to click on Create. Oops, Revolve is right here. So I'm going to click on Revolve. And first I need to choose the profile. This is the profile. The axis is going to be the axis that I drew. So it's going to go 360. So notice it spun it around. Okay, that looks good. Operation is join. Good, so that looks good. Okay, all right, looks good. Now, the next thing we're asked to do is we're asked to shell this. Okay, so let me click on home again. We can see better. All right, I want to be able to see those ends, which is important. So next we're asked to go ahead and shell. So I'm going to click on all right, we're going to click on, what do I do? Oh, shell, good. And I'm going to click on this face and this face because I want to remove those two. And the inside thickness is going to be 0.05 inches, 0.05 inches on the inside. I click OK. And what that did is it basically hollowed it out. So it made this into a tube that's 0.05 thick. Okay, and if we look at it on the end, you can kind of see, okay, it's a hollow, goes through there. So now it's a tube. It's like a pipe. Okay, the last thing we're asked to do is to put a thread. Now this is the longer one here, longer side. So let me go ahead and we're going to create a thread. There we go, we go to create and we click on thread and I'm going to click on this. Now notice it's doing the whole length. I don't want to do the full length, so I'm going to check that. So it's not going to do the whole thing, and I'm going to have the length about a ½ inch, so 0.5 inches. Now it automatically knew that the diameter is 0.37, so it made the size 0.375. Okay. It specified the type of thread, 3/16-16 UNC. See, UNC means coarse, which is a fatter thread, which is the kind of thing you'd use normally for wood or plastic as opposed to metal. And it's a class is 3A, and direction is right hand. We're always going to use a right hand. Now, if I click on modeled, you see it actually looks like you can see the real thread. It does take some processing, so if your computer is running slow, you can definitely uncheck that. It'll still work, but I prefer to have it modeled. Looks better, so we click on modeled, and we click OK. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got, see, we got a thread on the outside. All right, so we're finished with activity 225.